Albatross here again with the Cypher Unlimited crew. We have our usual suspects, plus a couple others, but here we have Alpha Dean, or Dean. We have Anthony, or Spinks18. And just a quick reminder, if you haven't, be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button on Twitch or YouTube. Get our numbers up. It helps us produce more content, see more people, or more people see our stuff. So definitely be sure to do that if you haven't. But Dean, what are we doing here today, and who are our lovely guests?
Well, guys, you know, it's another night like we do our Wednesday night thing, but we're here to discuss Ptolus with some really cool people. We have none other than a very special guest in James Walls, who also co-hosts Living for Crits with his wonderful daughter, Evie, where he talks about all things related to tabletop RPGs. He's also the co-host of Glowburn Podcast, which concentrates on the Shadow of the Demon Lord RPG. James is also well known for his love of DCC, Cypher, Shadows of the Demon Lord, and James is an OG when it comes to streaming. OG! YouTubing and podcasting. OG in the house. OG! You know, and then, you know, our other buddy over here, you know, we go way back too, you know, Mr. Marlowe, Andrew Marlowe, from Marlowe House, you know, and he has also a wonderful partner in Monica, who's also, you know, a published author and everything else. And on their show, Marlowe House, they talk about game design, they do actual plays. They created and ran the first online convention that I ever participated in called IsolaCon, which was awesome. It raised money for many charities. In particular, I guess is I always forget the name of it, but Andrew will tell us later. They're also award-winning game designers, top flight game masters, Twitch streamers, YouTubers. Andrew is a great friend. You know, he's been a great friend to our channel and a wonderful support all the way around. So yes, welcome guys. Thank you for coming on the show. You want to say hi to the people out there in the interwebs who are watching us and, you know, got to hang out with us tonight?
On a wave here. What's up? What's up? What's going on? I do got to correct you on one thing, so I'm going to be a total jerk, but Glowburn's for Mutant Crawl Classics. I don't want to get my judge's license revoked, and I'll lose the access to my D24s and D30s and D16s Demon Lord's a great game, but there you go. There it is.
That was a brave thought, James. That was me. That was a brave.
Hey, James.
You never type when you have 5-year-olds running.
Hey, look,
James. D24s, D30s, D16s, D14s, they're all there.
I got my D30s and all my stuff here next to me. It is awesome to be here.
That was not Dean's mistake. That was mine.
It is awesome to be here.
You know what? We're human. We make mistakes. Whatever. I'll take the brunt of it. I said it out loud.
No one has to take any blame. I'm just making sure I don't get crap from my co-host Mark on that, because the first thing he'll say is like, "That wasn't the right game." I think, "Shut up, Mark. You know, leave me alone."
but Mutant Crawl Classics are great as well. So I love it. Anthony,
good luck.
You said you had something special to say about our friends.
Yeah, you know, before our main topic, by the way, guys, which we're going to talk about everything Ptolus, and I can't think of two better people to talk about Ptolus with, because, yeah, I know, you got to work out. I got my 2 copies here. They hurt my arms. But, you know, before we even get started, I just got a couple of quick, you know, things to say about our guests, because I kind of feel it's important. I just want both of these gentlemen to realize the impact they had on us personally and professionally with our CU stuff. And I'm gonna get a little mushy, but fucking get over it, and then we'll start the show. But I'll do James first. You know, when I first got into Numenera, right, I was looking everywhere for anybody, anything online, talking about Cypher system, you know, talking about Numenera, and I found you, Mark, and Ryan had Cypher Live.
Oh my gosh.
And I think
taking me back to 2015, man.
And I think that was like the first, I mean, between you and Troy and Darcy with Cypher Speak, you were the only people doing Cypher system on social media. And I became an instant fan. Like, you know, I started watching everything. And, you know, I just want to say that, you know, I really, really appreciate and enjoy, all the enjoyment you gave me through the years from watching your content. And when me, Al, and Dean started creating our content, right, I kind of use your guys as the standard on what to do when you're talking about Cypher System, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but so your show's functional though, and ours was a disaster. So I don't know how. Like, I appreciate that, but
listen,
you guys together.
He's really telling you the truth though. We really did delve into like, what are these guys doing? How are they setting up stuff?
We couldn't get Ryan to make the bed behind him.
So I just want to say personally, on behalf of the CU, thank you for showing us how to do it the right way. And if you watch, we're dysfunctional as well, so we probably learned that from you.
Yeah, but you make
so
it
if
cool.
anybody blames us, I'm gonna send them to Judge James because you're the reason for our dysfunction going forward. And now to go to Andrew, right? You've been a friend of the CU since the very beginning, Andrew. I still remember a Gen Con from like 4 years ago when you didn't know us from a hole in the wall, right? We were the loud guys in the corner talking shit about Cypher System that nobody knew. We kind of just like bust in the door and started saying hello, talking to everyone. And I remember you sitting down and talking to me, not knowing me. We had like 2 episodes in and you were telling me how you really liked our content and you were so encouraging, right? You was telling, you made me feel welcome in the community. And you don't know how much that meant to us at that time, because like I said, no one knew who we were. And you kind of gave us a little bit of validation. So I just want to say thank you, brother, for seeing something in our show when we didn't see it ourselves. So
we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Yeah. So Andrew,
you know what? That is sometimes the joy of it though. And you guys are so natural and so exactly, you are who you are. You are not putting on faces. You're not taking on characters. You are just exactly as awesome as you come across on the show. It is so genuine and it shines through. And it's part of what I was telling you then. And I stand by it today. You guys do a fantastic job and you are so excited about everything you talk about. It is inspiring. I will say that it's sort of a.
I remember you telling us, "Yo, just be yourself, and everything's gonna be okay." And we kind of kept that motto. We us. That's who we are.
Yeah.
Unapologetic.
I mean, so you really like the episodes with me and Anthony fight, huh?
Sometimes there's nothing wrong with a little tension. I have actually gotten involved in some of those fights. You just don't know it.
There's nothing wrong with a lot of tension either.
So now that the mushy crap is out of the way, let's get on with the topic. We're talking about Ptolus, guys. Ptolus is described by Monte Cooke Games as a city of mysteries, secrets, and dark histories. Ptolus lies forever in the shadows of the towering stone spire, reaching impossibly high into the sky.
Growing out of Dean's head.
Nice. And a reminder of an evil long past. It sits atop a seamlessly endless network, I can't talk today, of ancient dungeons that draw adventurers from all corners of the empire.
Nope.
Oh, no.
There he goes. You're going to have to repeat that for a second, Ant.
At least he froze in a cool position. Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Oh, I fucked up.
Yeah.
You got finished with the entire introduction of Ptolus, and then whatever you said.
Sound like some kind of electronic thing was sampling you.
I guarantee you, my daughter's playing Final Fantasy 14 in her room using the Wi-Fi where she should be. But that's neither here nor there. But what is everyone's experience with Ptolus? And did you ever play the 3.5 version?
No.
I never got to play 3.5.
Now, I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't know what it was. I had no clue what it really was until, because I mean, I kind of knew what it was. Because I knew like there was like at the game store that I was like in the 2000s, there was that one book like wrapped in the back that was like $100 and some odd. And I was just out of college. I'm like, I cannot afford this. What else is there in the bargain bin?
Yeah. I ended up missing out on it the first time through too, but I was following Monte's blog at the time. And so he was sharing pictures of this size book, but it was all white. It was one of the pilot versions.
Yeah.
And it was that enormous, and it was white, and it had all the ribbons in it. And I was like, I want a part of that. And then it was like, oh, and it's $100. And I'm like, I have small children. I can't afford that right now. And I really wish, because I was like, I'll wait for, but it never hit a second printing. And waiting was probably, the wisest decision at the time. But it was one that pained me for years. And then they announced this Kickstarter, and I was like,
which let you pay for 2 copies worth $150 a piece. So look at that successful marketing right there.
Yeah.
Or it's inflation. It's one or the other.
Oh, probably
It'll be worth $250 next year.
It doesn't matter. Mine are getting well loved.
They are gorgeous books. And
You're
it
muted,
definitely
Anthony.
helps.
You're muted,
Oh.
Anthony.
I
guess
thought
he's the one that actually only owned the book. My experience with Ptolus 3.5, I played in a game store, maybe 5 or 6 sessions as a player, never owned the book. So D might be the only one that actually had the original 3.5.
I did own a copy of the original 3.5, and I cry every time I think about it because it was stolen.
Oh no.
Oh yeah,
Oh, no.
I lost about $8,000 worth of gaming material. Somebody broke into a storage.
Wait, what kind of jerks takes the game? I always figure my gaming stuff is safe. They'll take my computer.
This is my point. And you're talking about that. It really trips me out because that's all they took. It had to be somebody who knew me.
Yeah.
They just took my gaming stuff. $8,000 of stuff I can't replace. But it's neither here nor there because now I have Cypher System. I have all you wonderful people, and I'm much more powerful because of
That's wrong.
And I'm probably the least experienced here with Ptolus, just to be fully transparent. I have not dived into this gigantic behemoth of a book, so I'm mostly here to act as reactionary, as people who watching this maybe have not read it or have had any interaction with it. So I'm here to learn some cool stuff.
Just start reading right
I heard
now.
about Ptolus this morning.
Just right now. Just
Open that sucker up and start
We're gonna
reading.
be here for 12 hours. We're gonna convert this into an audiobook right now.
It is actually an incredible read.
It really is.
It's a long ass read.
It is a
know
long
what
read.
I read it
What I
in
dig
7
about it-
days, and it's a long ass. It's a good read, but it's long.
What I dig about it
Did you
is
read
even
it
though I had
cover to
read it
cover? 'Cause I
before, to go back and do it again has been so much fun. And then to read it from the Cypher perspective is even more fun,
Did
because
you guys read it from cover to cover?
I read it cover to cover, and if actually
Oh,
you go
God
to my
bless
YouTube channel, I have a how to read the book in like 2 weeks kind of thing, like how to break the book up, which some people have messaged me saying they used that, but I read it in 7 days cover to cover.
That's wild.
I read it mostly cover to cover, but I kept skipping around when I would, hit, footnotes and other things. It would suddenly go,
well,
I want to know more about this.
Well, the cool
And I
part
would go
about it is it's built
ahead.
for you to read it. It's built for you to read it like that because it's written like a travel guide.
Yeah.
And
And that's kind of how I read it. I read it the way I used to read travel guides,
yeah.
back when, I traveled.
And
Very
you
little
see, I
back
went to the equipment and magic section first and looked at okay, because I did the Cypher version because shit with Cypher Unlimited. So
You're
I went
contractually
to the
obligated
Cypher
to pay
version
for it.
first. And I went to the magic section first because, I'm sure we'll get into this discussion, but Cypher and Magic kind of has a weird love and hate with most of its fans. So I wanted to see what was in there, and then I checked the equipment section to see if anything was added on to that. And then I went and read the canon and lore.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of lore.
To be fair, when I got the book, I did what I always do first, and that was to look for a character sheet. I always look for a character sheet.
That's funny, Andrew, that you bring that up because I think that's an old school. 2 things: it's either the monsters, magic items, and magic section, or it's the character sheet.
I always look
Yeah.
at the character sheet first, and in this case, I did the character sheet, and once I got a good look at the two sheets that were in the envelope, I promptly went and looked at character options,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went back and read it more or less cover to cover, with a few jumps here and there.
I have a requirement to read books cover to cover. It's like a thing I've been doing since like the beginning of the pandemic, that I read a book a week, and I try to make sure I finish a book a week. So like I probably should have spent more time with it and not try to cram the sucker in a week, because I felt like I was back in grad school again. You know, my economics professor was going to kick the wall in like the Kool-Aid man and be like, "How far are you in this book?" You know. But it's thick. It's like what, 650 plus
672 pages.
When you get to magic items and stuff, like when I got to magic items, I slowed down a little bit. Okay, I don't need to read all this stuff. I can skim some of this.
Yeah, I was always more interested in the lore of the book, you know. So I mean, with that being said, guys, I mean, again, because we were talking about this, what were your reactions, you know, when you heard Ptolus being revised for 5e and Cypher systems? You guys have any, like, was it?
I can tell you my reaction. Shit, Dean could finally shut the hell up about Ptolus 3.5. I'll get to get my own copy.
My reaction was along the lines of oh, that's a giant book. I hope they make it through shipping, because like it's such a heavy book, and I know that like the size of these, like these are the kind of books that the mailmen like to chuck into something. But you know, ours arrived perfectly. I can't say mine. They were shared with my wife. Our two copies arrived perfectly. So
What about you, Andrew?
Mine arrived in pretty good shape. And when they first announced that they were doing this, I was so excited. I could not stand it. And my first thought was, well, I'll never need the 5e version. And then about the time that was happening, my son's like, my friends play D&D. It's like, all right, well, maybe we do need to get the 5e version. So we changed our pledge. And I'm now running the 5e version. Despite Cypher being my favorite system to run, I am running 5e in Ptolus.
It's
You know,
hilarious.
there's more people that run it in 5e than they do in Cypher system. I think that's
You know what it is? I understand exactly why that happens, you know, because D&D is where it came from originally, all the spells, all of that kind of stuff. People still have a problem with dealing with magic and Cypher.
Yeah.
I don't think
in my case, that's not at all what it is.
Oh, I know, not you.
Well, here was my entire logic. About the same time that Kickstarter was running for Ptolus, I did Iron GM at Gen Con. And I thought I did a pretty good job, but I didn't place in any of the top 3. And I am pretty certain that I would have scored better with my table if I had known how to run 5e, because that's what they wanted to play at Gen Con. And so I was like, well, I need to learn 5e. The only way to learn 5e is to play it. The only way to really learn how to GM a game that you're playing is to GM it. And so here I am. I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it in a setting I'm going to enjoy. So Ptolus was my setting, and 5e's the game. But I'm telling you right now, if anybody offers a seat in a Ptolus Cypher game, I am there.
I gotta say, it's interesting as heck the fact that you are running it in 5e because you wanted to try it. I've never ran 5e. I really didn't. I played it one or two times, like in 2008, 19, and then I got rid of my books, and then I
remember that.
I jumped back in just to play with Ptolus. I'm like, if I'm gonna try 5e, I'm gonna try it with a setting at least written by people that I know. And I learned 5e while playing Ptolus, and now like 5 sessions in to a 5th edition campaign set in Ptolus, I gotta say that like right now, hands down, if I was to run this with anything, it would be anything besides 5e.
You know what's funny?
Wait a minute, Anthony. Wait a minute.
No, hold on. Let me just say that. You know what's funny, James? When you announced that you were running it in 5e, I was freaking shocked because I've watched the videos when you was like, I'm not a fan of 5e. I'm getting rid of my books. And then I saw you like, oh, I'm running Ptolus in 5. I was like, what?
I think it does. I felt that it would translate. Well, first of all, I wanted to try 5e again. Some people were saying, you gotta try it again, give it another shot. And I was like, okay, you know what? I don't want to be that guy that's always like, I'm gonna like pour hot lead on 5e because there's so many people that are like, 5e, it's cool, it's not cool, whatever. Everyone's like throwing like shade all over the place. But I'm gonna try it again. And no, I'm pretty accurate in my original statements and stuff for it. But that's okay because I have a really good group playing it, which really helps. It's like, it's kind of like pizza, like, and other things, like, pizza, even bad pizza is good pizza. It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, D, you was gonna say something before I asked this question that came to my head?
Yeah, no, I was just basically gonna say, my whole thing when I heard they were doing Ptolus for 5e and Cypher, I got very excited because it was gonna be for Cypher system. I walked away from 5e back in 2015, 2014, late 2014, early 2015. I walked away from 5e and I really haven't looked back. And D&D will always have a special place, but it's just something about the way Cypher system handles games in general. And being that I played 3.5, 3.0, 3.5 Ptolus, I can just see what it's going to do. And speaking of games, Andrew, I'm running Blood of the Rune Lords for Ptolus for Cypher system over this Gen Con weekend. So something to think about.
I'm working this Gen Con weekend.
I was gonna ask both of y'all because me personally, though I've never run it in 5e, is I would think it's less prep running it in 5e because most of the mechanics were like built for that.
I don't think 5e is. I don't think 5e is low prep to begin with. 5e is
It's
essentially.
never. Yeah.
And I'm not running anything out of the book. I'm running. I'm mashing things together that are like some's published, but I'm like trying to write my own stuff for this. And I feel like 5e is very heavy with that, but that's a thing against 5e. And I know earlier there was a mention of like Magic and Cypher, and I don't remember who said it. Like there was like some question that Magic and Cypher is always a challenge. Where we pointing?
It was me. I said it. I was going to say, no, for me, it's no challenge. Trust me.
But I think hands down, one of the best fantasy settings ever written was Gods of the Fall.
Absolutely.
And which I really wish I'd get a book this size with Gods of the Fall. Like that's just.
Well, James, here's the thing. What you have to it's a mindset. I think it's just the mindset that a lot of people have to learn to adopt. That flexibility that Cypher brings to the table, and the idea how they explain magic, just works if it's organic. It makes every spellcaster unique, but a lot of people don't embrace it.
You see, I think the issue that a lot of non-Cypher players have with transferring to Cypher system and seeing the Magic system is that it's more narrative based opposed to the Vancian feel you get from D&D or Pathfinder or those other systems. It's more of wait a minute, I could adapt this one ability and describe it as 20 different spells instead of having those 20 different spells written out for you. And it kind of brain freezes certain players.
I think that is totally true. I also think that there's a certain amount of choice paralysis that happens with narrative games for people who are more that tactical play, that crunchier, straight and narrow play. And then I think also that people look at what's in the book and they don't see at first how flexible and broad everything really is. I'm gonna to go out on a limb and say a lot of the people that I've talked to who don't really like Cypher and have said, oh no, 5e is a better game. It's got so many more options, or Pathfinder's a better game because it's got way more options, aren't looking at the fact that the options in the Cypher core book are almost more options than you can shake a stick at. Every time they've put something out, it's something else you can add to your game, regardless of what system, setting they've given it to you in. It's also interconnected and able to be interlocked together.
We have a saying here at the CU. It's elegant, and it's simple, but it's elegant in its simplicity.
But some people don't, and this is where I'm trying to take on a new like viewpoint in 2021. We're like how far into a pandemic / dystopian future that we get to live through, which is like it's like an 80s movie but not cool. I'm trying to look at things like, we all can like something different, right? I'm going to pull my initial comments back to, if you're going to run 5e though, if you really want to run 5e, this is a effing damn good way to run 5e. And I would not want to play 5e with another setting than this one, for all the reasons we'll probably talk about here. So I want to make sure we're not yucking the yum too hard, or I'm not on a call where I'm yucking the yum too hard, because I'm really trying to make this be a, how I look at things. Because even with Cypher, I mean, the game I play most of all is Dungeon Crawl Classics. I play that like 6-1 any other game that I run, but I can still see the beauty in other games I play. And with Cypher, it's more like I just played so much Cypher and like years ago that I kind of ciphered out pretty quick. So
you should do a 0-level meat grinder in Ptolus though. That'd be cool.
I don't know if Ptolus would fit for that. I think that Ptolus reminds me more of, if I was going to do a DCC Ptolus, I would frame it more like Lankmar, where it was, you don't start as a peon, you start as still someone who's notable. I think that's where I think that's the
Ptolus. The level, if you really think about Ptolus is a level of intrigue that, a lot of people don't see it, but I would say it rivals ideologies like the Game of Thrones and stuff like that, because there's so much going on. It's so much to plug into. You can start players at so many different points. And what I really dig about it is what, James is saying, starting out competent is even cooler with Ptolus, as opposed to trying to go 0 to hero. So
we started our 5e game with everybody advanced to 5th level.
We did 3rd, but we advanced. And I question the decision because it was my first 5e game in a couple years, and I feel a little bit like wobbly with third level characters running around with all the crap that they have. They're 5th level now, and they can all do all kinds of stuff. And I think the wizard gets like 19 different actions. Like for me, where like used to DCC and old school gaming, it's like, wait, you're going again? Still my turn. What's the short rest economy now?
And here's the thing, and here's something. And there's a positive. There's a very big positive when it comes to 5e. And that positive overall is that it's noteworthy. Everybody knows Dungeons and Dragons. They know the name. 5e has been encoded, into the lexicon of a lot of stuff. You got celebrities out there who are endorsing it and everything else. So again, don't get me wrong. 5e is Dungeons and Dragons. It is what it is. But I just realized that, I've talked about it 1,000 times. It's the paradigm shift. I enjoy telling a grand story, and I don't feel I can do it as easily using a system like 5e.
I think both systems are viable.
They're all viable.
Yeah,
they're all viable.
And I think
every system is viable. Ryutama is viable for about 17 minutes.
Yeah. But what I was going to go back is I could see Ptolus being run as a 1st level as well. Like I like the adventures of, you trying to get in the guild, you're that young upstart nobody that's, and that could be also, since it's a heavy city setting, like those like early city adventures, those could be interesting, but you would probably have to advance rather quickly, maybe 1 or 2 sessions in, and maybe do some but I would like to play in those, the level 1 character And it also gets rid of that problem you have, James, with the multiple actions. You know, at first and second level, you're still kind of shitty enough that you don't have all that extra stuff.
Oh, the only fix for that is cutting out, it seems.
Oh, I cut out?
No, James did for a
James
hot
is
second.
frozen on
But
my
I
side.
will, let me just
That is the-
interject here for a second while he's coming back. I will
back?
say, oh, are you back? All right, if you're back, then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can just
yeah,
continue
back.
your thought then.
No, I thought it was useless. Go ahead.
All right, so then let me continue my thought then. Was, again, as someone who, again, I've only really heard about Ptolus. I haven't dived into the book or dove into the book.
You've lifted it though.
I've lifted it many times. I will say that though, the draw of it for someone like a player or a GM like me is that there's so much content in there that you could, even if you're not running in Ptolus, you can take it and drop it into your own games, and there's just so many variety of different things you can do with that. And it's just an excellent book for that sort of inspiration. Again, if you're not interested in the whole lore of having that whole city be your game, it's very easy to take and drag and drop. I mean, at least as far as Cypher goes, I can't speak on 5e.
It's the lore is pretty universal. I think it even goes to the 3.5. It does that. I'm gonna say I can clearly see Monte's fingerprints all over this, from the stamp, where Numenera came from with all of its open, empty space, as being a direct evolution of this. Because as big and chunky as this is, and you're like, oh, but it's just one city. There are still tons of places that are unoccupied and just waiting for a GM to fill them in.
Oh, that's a great point. You're both are running campaigns, right, in Ptolus. Did you pick a populated area or pre-written adventure, or did you try to stay far away from what was in the book?
You got to start in Midtown. You got to start in Midtown. I mean, that's how the whole thing works. Yeah, I started. So there's my first adventure. I have really great players that gave me really great backstory for their characters. And we started the adventure off, the whole campaign off. There's a map in here of the sewers and the Ratmen, and I was able to just take that Ratman map and turn it into an encounter or a whole adventure very, very easily. So the book gives you the map, the book gives you what's in each area, and all I had to do was sprinkle around a little bit, like, a kickoff scene, and then you get that whole packet of extra handouts that has random encounters for different neighborhoods. So when like the noble shows up with a bunch of orc hookers, you just roll that up and they're there, and that's a whole story in of itself. And it was really easy. I did the first adventure sort of in that vein, and I thought it was there are adventures printed in there, or there is an adventure path in here, but I think the book itself is very easy to open this up with a quick read and just let the players explore it like it's Grand Theft Auto medieval times.
Andrew, you and James bring up the best point ever. And that's the one thing I love about most of the stuff that Monte has ever done. Monte is the king of putting massive amounts of content, but still leaving it so open for your own creative process. You know, and that's why it reminds me of like the original Castle Greyhawk. Old Castle Greyhawk was like that. It was this thing that you could plop into any world you had. And so now we got Ptolus, which is another place that can be, basically broken down into its component parts and put back together any way you want. And that's what I dig about it. I love stuff like that. I love anything that's open source where I can plug in my own creativity.
I will say something about the packet. I love the packet. It's a great idea.
There's a butt coming.
But damn, they shouldn't have put it inside the book. Because
where are you supposed to put it?
They could have put it on the outside wrapped in the plastic.
But if you did that, then it wouldn't have this cool back creasy thing going on.
But it's messing up my binder.
Don't keep it in there then. Put it
I don't keep it. I don't keep it in there. I don't keep it in there.
I'm an idiot. I don't have time.
On the back, don't keep the packet in the book.
Yeah, mine's mostly healed.
My packet is not in the book.
You know when I realized it got warped? When I watched James's video and then I went back, I said, oh shit, my book is warped.
I definitely took it out.
It got warped.
Took my packet out the day I got it, and it's been sitting outside of the book since that day.
I did something unspeakable to my packet though.
Oh no.
I put all the Cypher stuff into one of them and all the 5e stuff in the other.
Are they separate? Are they different? Are the packets?
No, the
No, I
packets
think
are
it-
exactly the same.
Yeah, they're exactly the same.
Right. Yeah. So it's okay, right?
Right. So I took all the Cypher stuff out of one of them, all the 5e out of the other, and I just merged them so that all the 5e
You know,
stuff. So I've got duplicates in both books, but
And
they're
I'll
for the
tell you
right
too,
system.
Ptolus is the one thing that made me realize that, you know what, I'm just backing anything Monte Cooke does, because I did the same thing that I did before. I didn't buy the 5e version. They sent me the 5e PDF. I looked at it, I'm like, damn, I need this book. So of course I've ordered a copy of the 5e version.
And you know what's funny? I told them that when the Kickstarter was happening. I said, you're going to order it afterwards and you're going to be like, damn, I should have listened to you.
I'm saying it now. Yes, I should have listened.
Let's talk about the book itself, because this book, the front cover, oh my God, just rubbing your
beautiful.
hands on it is like awesome.
We're gonna get like aren't there, you can't go like NC-17 on here. Stop rubbing the book, man.
Oh.
It's just ASMR. It's
No,
okay.
no, listen, it's okay. It's okay. The book is all about consent and gaming.
That's okay. There you go.
That's consent. That's a consenting book.
Yeah,
The book
me and the
consent.
book had a consent form filled out before I
It's
started.
very, very. I think I mentioned it in one of my when I was reviewing the book, and one of my videos was like how great the book feels.
Mhm.
You know, even at its weight that it has, it's still a manageable product at the table, and they give you a lot of elements. Like I really like the fact that they give you these. I don't want to lose my place with this, but they give you tearaway bookmarks, which you're going to need more. I wish it had more of these, because I have, like when I do my first read through, I was figuring all these things I wanted to note for future campaign purposes. I ran out of bookmarks.
I couldn't tear my bookmarks up.
Oh, I tore mine out.
See,
I just could.
what I'll
So-
probably do is when like I said, I'll order the 5e version, so I'll just tear those out and use those.
So what I'll probably end up doing is making photocopies if I end up needing more.
That works too.
Tear them out. It's like tear them out. What are you gonna do other? Why would you not tear them out? Are you gonna sell your book?
No.
Why tear it out? Use it. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't buy the whole like collecting for the sake of. There's that one SNL sketch with like the kids in the Star Wars toys, and the grown-ups are like, or just keep it in the box. Like you're like, you know, take it out.
I am not like that with toys. I am okay with taking toys out of the boxes.
I gotta agree with Andrew on this one.
But
just
why?
hearing it, tear it out is just
Wait
like,
a second. Wait a second.
so-
You guys are all about like anything Monty does. You want to get it. You're in for it. Monty put these things in the book for you to tear out of the book.
Are y'all talking about this? I'm about to do it
I'm not
live
saying
on the
it's
air. I'm gonna tear this out live on the air
Do
right
it.
now.
James, I'm not saying that it's not logical to tear it out. I'm just saying I physically can't do
You
it.
have to do it.
Look, the thing about it is this: those I'll tear out. Like I said, I have no problem with that. The only problem I have, if you are one of those animals who write in your book, you and I have a problem.
I write in my books.
I won't tell you what Monica did while we were designing for Legends of the Wild Wastes then.
I highlight my books.
I'll do that with adventures, not actual like the core books.
You're a monster, James.
Maybe.
She started marking up our.
James is the wild. That's why he's the original OG. Respect the OG.
You know, I get it. I do. I mean, that's what we used to do with textbooks. When I was in college, I'd write in my textbooks.
I never did. I never did. I am totally neurotic. I am totally neurotic when it comes to my books.
Oh, you took it.
I started tearing up when she started writing in it, and
I have
I
books.
had to make her promise that I could order a new one to replace it.
Look, I can go behind the screen and pull out books from the 1980s and 1970s that still look like they were brand new.
I pulled pages down. I mean,
And you saw, I just tore mine out right there. Since now it's
I know.
out.
That's beautiful.
Right.
You know, and that's what it's there for. It's there to open it up, tear them out. You got them. You could use them.
Look at Al. I love Al.
I mean, get it all set up right now. Why
a
not?
whole bunch of youth to tear
I
up
love
their
it.
books.
Tear up those books. Tear up your books.
No. Hello,
Monica.
Monica.
Hello, Monica.
She leaned in to tell us that she's watching upstairs. So she came downstairs to say that she writes in books.
Jen's watching downstairs. I'm just gonna make her order me books.
That I can't. That, you know, if it's something that tears out the book or something, I'm good with. But please.
Oh man, it's hurting me just watching you do that.
I just
Really?
hear it.
I have a strong.
I don't have any attachment to Al's book. It's not my book. So Al can do it to his
No,
book.
what
as much as
Al's
he
doing,
wants.
what Al did is fine. I'm just talking about the people that don't write in the books.
Why not? What's wrong with? If I'm not gonna cross something out, it's not like I'm editing the book. It's not like I'm opening the book and going to the noble quarters and it says House Abercrombie. I'm like, nope, that's gonna be House Quattro. I'm not doing that.
Wait,
You know,
I got something funny here. So, Anthony, you're probably going to be hurt a little bit more by this. Just 'cause, it's funny because I have it out live on air too. I tore out the last page that's behind that as well, by mistake just now. So that one's gone too. I mean, I like it. I might put this on my wall actually. I like the little symbol. I don't know which way is the right side up, but it's nice.
Whatever lets you sleep at night. You know?
I'm like this. Look,
Wait, Anthony,
you
what's
guys do whatever you want. Just don't ever ask me to borrow a book.
Anthony,
Oh,
what's
wait
your
a minute.
favorite
You
part?
guys know my. Let me tell. Everybody knows my story. Do never give Al a book.
Oh my
I
god.
gave Al my first edition GURPS book, right? First edition GURPS book. He lost it and gave it back to me and like crumbled. It was like a crumbled mess.
You say
Yo.
Dean did this to you? Wait,
No,
what?
me.
Oh hell no.
So I sat the book on from what I remember. I borrowed it. It was GURPS. I was trying to learn a universal system
was
before
pre-Cypher.
Cypher System. This is before
This
Cypher
was-
System.
He had told me, "Hey, look, I wanna run a generic game," and this was before Cypher System even
Exactly,
came out.
JMX
So I was like, "Well, if you want generic, you should try GURPS." The only copy I had was the very first 1977. I gave him my copy, not knowing that he's Al, which I should have known because I've known Al for a long time. He gave it back to me. The cover was missing. The back, the whole back was missing.
So, what I remembered was putting it on a shelf because I looked at it and I was like, "What the hell am I gonna do with this?" Because it was GURPS.
Yeah.
And again, I was new to role playing games,
everyone's
so all this
reaction.
thrown at me at once. I'm like, "What?" So I put it on a shelf, and apparently, while on said shelf, all that stuff happened because I didn't move it. I don't know,
Well,
gremlins.
once again,
I'm
once
sure
again,
James came to your house and wrote it.
This is true. I did.
I had to replace my first GURPS book too, but that's because I destroyed it. It just got.
Oh yeah, I'm not a huge GURPS fan.
do you
It's,
understand
it,
people?
no.
Do-
It got worn to death by use.
Do you understand people? You understand?
Wait,
This is how they must look. This is how books must look.
Wait a second. I mean,
Is that a shelf?
I got a major problem with your bookshelf, and it's not a calyx from IKEA. Okay. All right,
What?
where's the IKEA It's got to be a calyx from IKEA.
Dude, you have to remember something. IKEA came after I started gaming. I'm an old guy.
IKEA was here since the dawn of time.
Moses
And I was there before that.
helped me build that bookshelf.
Yeah, I'm with Dean on this one. We're a little older, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. IKEA wasn't a thing when I
Oh, do you
started.
think? How young do you think I am here? Ain't that
believe
young?
it. I'm quite sure you're younger than me.
I don't know.
Most people are.
I think you're misestimating how old Dean is.
He's 36.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
I remember 36.
I do too.
It's
I have a
hard
child-
though because it's
I have
a
a
long time
child
ago.
almost that old, James.
All right, let's
But-
go back to Ptolus. We
Yeah,
all
I'll
know
just-
the
Yeah.
part.
Let's back to Ptolus. Back on topic.
Back on topic, man.
What makes Ptolus stand?
I'll read the question since this thing is coming
I don't know
and
what he's
messing up.
saying,
Right?
but I love
So
that picture. Screen
it's-
cap. Hold on, screen as fast as I can before you go. Oh, I got it.
Oh,
He's saying, oh no, all right, that was a funny commentary. But Anthony, you're back, so finish your question.
I said, what makes Ptolus stand out, compared to other fantasy settings?
The tavern's got a menu.
Oh yeah.
One thing that makes Ptolus stand out is that it's a one-stop shop. It's all encompassing. You get your dungeon crawl, you get your city runs, you get the surrounding area. If you want to do your wilderness stuff. Ptolus is just
It's a campaign inverted.
Okay, yeah.
In most campaign settings, you get lots of little cities with a little bit of detail here and a little bit of detail there, and they're really just very cursory. They're covered very, very, very quickly. Ptolus, you get Ptolus, and then the rest of the world is covered very quickly.
All right, see, here's my take. Because I've read other city campaigns, and Ptolus isn't exactly the first. So I think what Ptolus does differently is that when you enter an area in Ptolus, when you go into a part of town, the book doesn't just describe that section of town. It tells you, and this happens when you go there. So as you're going through the book, if you're playing Ptolus and you want to just open world this, it's very similar in a way to like a hex crawl or something, where every hex you go in, something's going to happen. Except it's not a hex. In fact, it could be like a 7-foot by 5-foot map that I've got in my basement that like you could just travel around with your figures. But when you go into an area, if you go to the North Market, here's a bakery. Oh, and while you're in the bakery, this person busts through the door and this happens, and this is connected to blip and blip and blip. So it's almost like there's an AI that Monte put in this book that you can kind of travel around town. If your players were just going to say, I'm just going to walk down this street in the nobles' quarters and go shop to shop, like just window shopping, an adventure will unfold as long as you kind of follow along with the rhythm that they wrote.
Yeah, and if you want to do that, but you don't have to. That's the other beautiful thing.
You do have to. It's required.
I will.
I wrote it in my book. It says it.
See? And there it is. There it is.
I kind of view Ptolus like a MMO, if that makes any sense. You ever see how like a MMO has, like when an MMO first comes out, it's kind of vanilla WoW or vanilla Final Fantasy. You can hear me?
Yeah, no, just saying.
Yeah.
I can still hear you, but I gotta step away. Just
Okay.
keep going.
Yeah, I view it as an MMO because it seems like an MMO that's on like its third expansion. Because if you like traditional fantasy, it covers that. But if you want to add a little guns to your fantasy, it covers that. If you want a little, not cyberpunk, but a little like technological magic, it covers that. And it's like every expansion of an MMO got squished into this one book. You can hit so many different avenues of fantasy. It covers more than just traditional.
It is an amazing product, and the city detail is phenomenal. But the other thing I like about it too, again, is that there's still so much open world to it. We can do whole stories that come right out of the like the random encounters and the various places, or you can just take those as inspiration and hang on to them for another time. So that you don't have to always, tell the same story. It's got so many different gears and switches and levers to play with.
Have you guys gone to the Spire yet? I've done
No.
Spire.
That's like that's some 20th level crap, man. That's like
You're a nice GM. You throw them in there.
I wouldn't do that.
No, we're
Listen,
my group is it.
I was just saying that's no different than the guy I played last 5e game I played, and we were doing Ravenloft, and he let us go to the Amber Hills or whatever the hell it was, and we were like 5th to 6th level, and it's like a 12th level section. We would just get dead.
He Dark
And,
Souls,
you know,
he didn't gatekeep. He let you go wherever you want, bro. You deal with the
Yep.
So
consequences.
we just did a video adversarial GM.
That's what I'm talking about. It was just a lot of smackdowns. I mean,
We were not supposed to be rooting against our players. We're supposed to be rooting for them. What?
Remember, this is 5e, not again. I haven't played Mutant Crawl Classics, but I heard there's a lot of death in there. So
Oh yeah, it's the both DCC and MCC have a high level. It's a high risk, high reward kind of concept. If you finish a DCC or an MCC module, the idea is it was supposed to be a challenge. You didn't have like 17 death saves and
right.
you didn't have 19 encounters and short rest economy or any of that crap. It's like real gaming. The challenge with Ptolus, I feel that what makes it different from other games, and just I do think you need to have some player buy-in and let them know before they make their characters what they're jumping into. Like really clear to say, like it's not just fantasy; it is urban fantasy. It is a city game. So like that, because that I feel we have a barbarian in the party, and she plays a great. My friend Monte plays a fantastic barbarian. She's really cool. She's a Minotaur barbarian, always angry, not the best at stealth because she just goes straight for the grapple and straight for charging with the horns. However, I think barbarians, druids, rangers, they're going to have some challenges in this kind of game because you can leave the city, but there's not a lot of reason to leave.
Right. Everything
because it's still that one-stop shop.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Everything is built upon the intrigue of the city, and then of course, eventually finding out what's going on with that spire over there.
What's above and what's below? Because below.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's what I was getting ready to get to. When you start talking about the, underneath the catacombs, I mean, so much stuff. I mean, do you want to try to break past the dwarves and check out their catacombs? It's been, it's just stuff. And that's what I dig about it.
I mean, another good question to ask is both of you guys have full campaigns. Did your guys start out by giving a player's guide to your players and have them read that? Or did you just give them like a brief, overview?
I asked, yeah.
I didn't lock him in a basement and say you have to read this, but I wish I could have.
I handed out the player's guide to everybody, and had them read it if they wanted to. I think about half the group read it.
Other have said they read.
If any of them had bought the hardcover, I'd have been like, here, read it. Go ahead and read it. Years ago, I came across. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's a book called Robin's Laws of Good Game Mastery by Robin D. Laws.
I've never read it.
Robin D. Laws.
He's got
And-
laws. Wait, what? What's the book called?
Robin's Laws of Good Game Mastery.
I like how he used his name. My last name doesn't work with stuff like that. It's cool, but
But he advised that, there, other than the secrets that are really going to be secrets, let your players read all of it that they can so they can get the total buy-in. And I have embraced that idea more often than not. Obviously you don't want them reading the adventures, but it's like, go hog wild on anything else in the setting. The more of it that you can pick out a better place for your character to be.
if they read a 600-page book, bonus XP, man. Like you read it, here you go.
Let me chime in here for a second. Being one of the newer GMs or newer to the hobby, and just based on how you're speaking, the implication was it used to be frowned upon for players to read the lore setting information and such before sitting down for a game or something like that.
Yeah, the book.
Oh, yeah.
Especially anything that had to do with the game master. So a lot of books had a lot of game master information in it, so you kept that to yourself. That was yours.
Because in the 80s, that's how you learn the real magic, so you can cast a spell on your dad and have him to buy you all the D&D.
I mean, that seems a little weird to me because, again, you as a GM, you have real control over the actual plot twists or actual secrets. So the fact that it was a little frowned upon or whatever
It
taboo
still is
for the
in some
players to
circles.
read, that's so weird to me.
But that comes from what we were talking about last week with the adversarial GM. That's why it was adversarial.
Mhm.
You had two different. You had a line drawn in the sand.
I love that line, especially when I put the GM screen up and I'm like, that's you, this is me, stay over there. All right.
You weren't here for the GM talk.
There you go.
The
Oh my
GM screen
God,
talk.
Anthony, look at it. I got
Look, it's
me and
a,
James, we're here.
I
Anthony.
separation.
I'll just die
There you go,
because they got into it
Separation
over the
anxiety.
GM screen.
Anthony got separation anxiety. He don't feel like part of the table.
Yo, last week we had a drag out fight about GM screens. I just don't like them.
You don't like
I
GM
don't
screens?
like the step.
No,
I don't
I love
either.
everybody, man. I love everybody.
I love everybody, but not
I want to
enough.
hug you
My
in
side
the
of
middle of an adventure if I can.
I don't want them to see my stuff or my
Gets in my
notes.
way.
How? Listen, if the
I don't
players
like
can see,
notes, so it
if the
doesn't bother
players
me.
can
I
see
use
my side of the
that.
table, if the players can see my side of the table, how do they know? They'll know that I'm adding hit points to the dragon when they're killing it too fast. They'll figure that out. I don't want them to figure that out. I want them to be mysterious.
You need to learn how to write smaller then. I've got players.
First of all, if you
next
want
to
to be
me, they can't
mysterious,
tell.
just wear a cape. Everyone knows that if you have a cape on, you always look
This is
mysterious.
good. I have a wizard's robe. This is good notes. I'll wear a cape. Is that going to help? Well, hold it in front of
They'll
the
make you look mysterious.
It's a wizard's cape.
Let's go ahead.
No,
That's your screen for rolling. You just go roll.
Oh man, that's
I like
amazing.
that.
like I said, I like screens for information.
Yeah.
I use them. You know, I mean, I like my notebooks. I like my phone.
I like my laptop. I got my
I like my
laptop.
tablet.
I got my laptop. I got my GM screen. I got my bucket of dice. I'm ready to roll.
Exactly.
I already
Oh,
see Al's on Amazon looking for capes right now.
Al's gonna have a nice pink
So-
cape.
So what I pictured here, just to chime in before we move back to Ptolus, because there's another outrageous tangent. I pictured just again a cape with the GM screen information on the inside, and I like to show my rolls, so like I would drop it for the rolls and then pop it back up against the high notes or whatever. Like,
I can see that too. It's got little post-its with pins in them to hold them in place.
You just put the tallest book up
man.
like a GM screen, just hang it in front of you, and then it falls over and the spine breaks, and then you're gonna buy another one. And
oh
Yeah,
man.
we're definitely going to look at capes for the Cypher Unlimited store. Thank you for the suggestion, Jason.
I don't think they produce
you know what?
capes.
Hey, listen, the minute we find a place to do capes, I'm getting one, and I'm having the Cypher logo right on the side, so I can have. Oh yeah, it's gonna
Oh
be.
man! All right,
Oh,
so
my
to bring it back to Ptolus.
Yeah, let's bring it back to Tellus.
And I
We've
want
talked
to
a lot-
just real quick, but we got to have a Doctor Strange collar. On
Oh
that
my
cape.
god!
oh yeah, but that's where you have your hit tables and stuff, or on the
Oh,
collar.
yeah.
Exactly.
Where THACO is calculated, you need
And-
that on the collar.
You need that right there.
It's a THAC collar. you
Zacco
know?
is certainly arcane.
Yeah.
Fat collar. Oh my god. Anyway, on that note, we've talked a lot about all the like content and all the stuff they give you within Ptolus. It's like, again, it's sprawling, it's incredibly detailed, it's amazing. That with that in mind, did you guys add or change anything like homebrew style, any lore or any of the settings? Oh, excuse me, any of the like locations? Did you adjust them in any way, or did you just run it purely straight out how it is in the book?
So far, I have run a little bit up top, and the up top portion I have not done anything tampered with. When I took them below, I took them into an altered storyline based on the old school module B1 in Search of the Unknown. But I hate that original map, and Dyson Logos has a beautiful map that he has produced for free, funded by his Patreon. And it is this 3-level reimagining of the dungeon from B1.
Nice.
And I've been using that for our first storyline. What we did for our characters is we sat down for session 0. I said, here's some ideas I have. You guys give me some ideas you have. What we ended up settling on is that the players were an adventuring party about 5 years ago that split up after one of the PCs died. and was brought back to life. And now they're coming back together because one of their party members has gone missing. And they're following the clues, and they think that he is in this dungeon beneath Ptolus. And I'm just using that map as one of the sites under Ptolus. And some of the material from the Goodman Games reissue of B1.
Nice.
I read that right after I read this. What are we on the same book club here, man? Like I read this, then I read Into the Borderlands. Like,
Yeah.
Man, we're like just like connected.
Into the Borderlands, I do like it. I mean, I like a lot of those reimagining of the.
No,
old.
they're it's a lot of cool history about old dungeons that.
And the Goodman Games version is
Well,
awesome.
if you talk to me and Anthony will tell you, we were talking about that the other day, that the old games were really just, you know, one encounter after the other. You had to fill in the story anyway.
Yeah.
So what Goodman Games is doing is brilliant. You know, I'm loving it.
Yeah, keeping the Borderlands. Like I ran like 4 or 5 sessions of that using Cypher, like trying to convert, but I was using the Goodman Games version, and
It was awesome.
phenomenal. I love how they gave you the original, then they give you the up to date, like the one that came out for 3.5, and then they give you the 5e version, and it's all slightly different. They doing a hell of a job.
I don't have quite the nostalgia factor with it because I mean I started gaming in the very early 90s. So like nostalgic for me, I opened those up and I'm like, oh, these are interesting. But nostalgic for me is like the Sands of Athos and Planescape and stuff like that. That's where I hit nostalgia. My nostalgia factor is a bit different. That, you know, and I played Isle of Dread. I died on Isle of Dread is more like how that worked out. But so my nostalgia there is pretty weak too.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, and that's what that just, you know, it's just different times. But whenever somebody does something that kind of gives you a little bit more than you remember, it makes it kind of cool. I mean, I think that's how I feel about Ptolus coming over to Cypher System, you know, because now I can really lean into that grand storytelling that I enjoy doing, as opposed to, you know, worrying about, you know, mechanics at the table and stats and so on and so forth. So
I love this. I spent more time like developing something interesting or unique in my Ptolus game, but more or less it's been a test bed for me to try the 5th edition rules. So I mean, I haven't really, the only thing I changed with the setting for my campaign, it wasn't much of a change, is since 3 of our player characters all knew each other while in the Imperial Army, 2 of which, actually all 3 of which aren't human. We made I let them detail out the irregulars that they belong to. They came up with their own team called the Ember Wolves, and that was part of the military, and that's how they connected. So they, you know, it's the chaplain and who's the cleric, and it's the barbarian was like the shock trooper, and that's how they knew each other. So I mean, they came up, and this is my players coming up with this. They come up with the details of that connection. I didn't add that. I'm still trying to figure out why Warlock only has 2 spells.
Yeah.
But see, and that's what, but you know what, James? Is that's the beautiful stuff I'm talking about.
Shots fired.
That's the
Eldritch
beautiful
Blast,
stuff I'm talking
or
about.
whatever it
Though,
is.
where players, you know, feed into the narrative. They feed into the story. They give you canon to use. I mean, for the last 30 plus years of me gaming, I always ask people, if I know I'm going to run a campaign, come on, can I get a page or 2, you know, a couple of paragraphs of a background story for your character, and then, you know, weave that into the narrative, and we, you know, because it's always good stuff to use. I mean, now you got,
It's great meat.
Would you say?
It's the best meat for a GM. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
You know, like it's funny in my group is like I had 4 players gave me a tiny bit, and my friend Maitre, she gave me like freaking 2 pages. I'm like, guess who wrote the campaign background?
Exactly.
That is so facts.
Real quick, Anthony, I just want to address the guys in the other doc and those guys in the talking about the GM screens. I think you guys kind of missed it. We were just having fun with Anthony. I was pulling his leg. I mean, GM screens, I've never used it to hide stuff. I literally use it for information. I would set 2 GM screens up with an open area so you can look at what I'm doing.
Is
You
there,
know?
is there sass about the screens? Wait a second.
Yeah.
Not
The
sass, just
non-GM
someone.
Scream
a
army
great
is
point.
arising. We will take over the world.
Yeah, but you don't have a screen.
We will go to your house and burn all your.
How are you going to get over the
Except my
screen? We got
collector's
capes
edition
too
one.
now, okay?
Hey, you ain't burning.
You guys brought up some good. In either one of your campaigns, do you have anyone that's an outsider to Ptolus that's never been to Ptolus as a player character?
No,
Or
Yeah.
has all your characters been in Ptolus?
all of my group's characters have been in Ptolus.
One of our characters is new to Ptolus, but she's the one that wrote the whole background, so she knows everything.
That forgives it
man.
all.
But she's not
You get whatever
mitigating.
you want. You did
I
it.
feel like I need to give
You
some kind of like apology to like Yinz's audience here that I'm on here, like, because I definitely get sassier with my viewers and stuff because
Oh no, don't worry.
I'm a terrible human being. People of the CU, I apologize on behalf of
No apologies necessary. The CU are a bunch of tough-skinned cookies. They're all right.
We're gonna push this boundary then. Here we go.
All right, so actually that's actually a great segue into the next question here, depending on how hardcore you want to be about it. But either way, we've talked a lot about what's in the book, what you've adjusted a little bit. But is there anything you wish that was included in the book that wasn't, or any other critiques that you haven't mentioned so far?
I don't like guns in my fantasy. So I know this is to Anthony's you like the addition. I don't like. I mean, so I guess what I'd like to see more of is less gun. That's a tough one for me. I don't know. I don't want to say it's because of the connotation of guns or anything like that. I'm not making a statement on that front. It's just I think that once you start adding certain pieces of technology, it starts to make other things make less sense. So and the guns are pretty badass. That's the thing. It's not just guns. It's like freaking aliens, smart guns. Vasquez is running in a room, gunning people down. Drake's got the flamethrower out.
They're not that bad. They're not that bad.
Have you read? Wait, hold on. You said you read it
First
cover
of
to
all-
cover, man.
First of all, you get A+.
First of all, I have a gunslinger in my game. I have a gunslinger in my game.
5e. I don't know how that works. Is it 5e? Is it a 5e thing?
That's actually a critical role thing.
I told my players they could bring the player's handbook, and that was it because I wasn't letting them bring anything else. I said, this is.
But the guns in Ptolus are actually not all that either. You want to talk about OP guns? Look at the Pathfinder gunslinger. I love the Pathfinder gunslinger.
I'll put it this way. It just depends on what game I'm running. If I'm gonna say because the beautiful thing about Ptolus is that Ptolus is kind of timeless. You don't necessarily have to be like if I'm going to say that it was Renaissance time, I might throw gunslingers in. But if I'm going for a more high fantasy game, I might say it's further back in time. So guess what? There are no gunslingers.
I want to point the level of detail in this book. I'm trying to find guns. I'm having a hard time. I did find how much it costs to have a license to open a tavern, though. Okay, like that's the one thing I'll say about this book is there is a lot of stuff in here. Oh, I found guns. Okay,
Hold on, let me say something. I don't care either way whether there's guns in my fantasy or not, but I gotta back James on this one because of the Vasquez reference. Once you throw aliens into any discussion, I'm siding with whoever talks about Vasquez.
here we go. Here we go.
James, I'm on your side. No guns. Get it out of my fantasy.
Hey, look, if you like guns, it's great. Have guns in your game, whatever. It was just something that because I don't know if I want to see anything else in this book because like I'm a very weak man. All right. I don't like doing push-ups. I don't want to lift the book. My very first video with the book was me and Judge Evie just lifting it. That was our video. Like it was just that was it, you know. I don't know if I want anything else in here. I wouldn't mind. Actually, it's not true. What I wouldn't mind is a second book, maybe less thick, that gave a little more intrigue about like the area around the rest of the world, just so you could have some adventures to those other parts. You know, it'd be really cool if you had some kind of archaeological thing going on. I always liked with Eberron how you had like, you know, I ran a city game in Eberron in Sharn, and it was almost all in Sharn, but every once in a while they'd go to Zendrick or somewhere else. I wouldn't mind some extra detail about the rest of the world. I understand it's the city guide, but I also know that like MCG's grown and stuff, you know, they got other writers, you know, pull that crap out.
I mean, that's not an entirely unfair assessment, and I would be okay with that. As far as anything specifically to add to Ptolus, no. This book is super complete. I mean, I don't even know where to even begin answering that question. You've got menus, you've got prices for licensing.
I think James kind of hit the nail on the head as far as what, you know, that, but the way I look at it is that's what Godforsaken and you know, Gods of the Fall are for. Those are the places that are around Ptolus for me that you have to get to. You know, the Nightlands are out there, and you know, the stuff in Godforsaken is out there.
Oh,
and
I would
Ptolus
never miss my Gods of the Fall with Ptolus.
But Godforsaken would work.
I'm just saying it's out there.
I haven't read Godforsaken.
Oh, Godforsaken, what's your toolkit? So, and then they have a mini setting in there as well.
I know, I just haven't read it, so I don't know the mini setting. So it's really the only one of those clusters that I haven't read.
I mean, I have a minor gripe. I can't speak for the 5e version because, as you could tell, I don't know if you can see it with my overlay. I mean, with my background, but my Ptolus 5e is still in the plastic wrap.
Yep, I can see it.
But in the Cypher version, I really wish they would have fleshed out the races better, you know, because it is coming from D&D, and I know they have a little section on, oh, if you want to have an elf or, you know, refer, but I flesh it out a little better in the Cypher version. So if someone is coming over from D&D and trying to play it in Cypher system, there's a better explanation behind it instead of like one paragraph for each.
I think that's why Godforsaken came out first. To be honest with you, and I think you'll get a lot more mileage if you're a new GM coming to this. If you have
don't get.
And I'm not talking about you. I know you know this stuff, but I mean,
I own every book, but it's also not fair to the person just buying the Ptolus book to say, hey, you have to go and get another book. You know,
I think there's enough in there to get by on, but the problem is that the two books are almost identical. And I would only have to say that my guess, I only have the PDF for the 3.5 or the 3.0 version. The 3.0 version, I'm assuming, is almost the exact same thing because they pretty much said that they just went through it and updated it to the new rule sets. So adding something else back in that wasn't there originally, I don't know. I think that's out of the scope of what the project.
See, and I look at it this way, and I'll say this over and over. And Anthony, I get what.
Let me finish what I'm saying. I can understand that.
You were breaking up, so I didn't know you were saying anything.
I mean, I can understand that argument from 3.5 to 5e, but from 3.5 to Cypher system, which is a completely different system, you know, it would have been nice to add something on the races a little more in depth.
Only thing, and the only argument I give you in that, and the only reason I say no, I don't think so, is because anybody who's buying the Ptolus book, 90% of the people buying the Ptolus book for Cypher System are Cypher System players, so they know how Cypher System operates. I disagree. I don't.
The 5e version is so way better. You can actually look this up, but the 5e version is so way better than the Cypher version.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. It makes no difference which one's sold better.
But that's just because there's more. I mean, look.
It doesn't make a difference which one's sold better. Anybody who's buying the Cypher System version is a Cypher System person. So they have Cypher System resources. You have races in the Cypher System rule book, you have them in the Gods of the Fall book. You don't need that extra space taken up in the Ptolus book. I don't.
Here's why we've always had this argument, but here's why I disagree with. Let's not go into it. But
nothing
the
to
Cypher
disagree
System
with.
core book doesn't have all the fantasy races. And I'm not a fan of always saying, hey, you have to get this book and this book and this book and this book, because that's not what it was advertised
But
as.
Anthony, but that's the point is,
I'm
it's
just
not.
giving you my word critique, dude.
I'm disagreeing with Anthony to side with me, just to do
Everybody
it.
put games now.
No, Anthony, that's not the point.
Okay.
I think you're missing the point of what I'm saying. The Cypher System, I mean, Ptolus has never been ported as a self-contained, every rule you need. It's not. The book is not that. If you have the Ptolus book, you need a Dungeon Master's Guide and a Player's Handbook. If you have the Cypher System version, you need the Cypher System rule book at least. These you just have to have the other thing. Ptolus isn't a self-contained game.
All I was saying was that I hope they had more race descriptions in the book.
Again, to me, it's unnecessary. I'm just saying it's unnecessary.
Well, let's agree to disagree on this one. I think.
I hate agreeing to disagree. No one likes that.
Because I can see.
That's not a fun show.
That's a Midwest thing. This is Philly where I'm at. You know, we
Well, you know what?
Look, we're a couple of New
I'm
Yorkers.
not adverse to throwing down. I just know that we have other things to talk about.
No, we're just a couple of New Yorkers.
This is fun.
This is what me and Anthony do. It is what it is.
Oh, I'm not. Hey, I'm not trying to avoid a fight to avoid a fight. I just know that there's a lot more to talk about.
I was like, agree to disagree is my first. I was always in the middle, like that guy.
I'm just like, guys,
Come on, guys.
you have a valid point. You have a valid point. Let's keep it trucking.
You jumped on me, but what is there anything from the book that you wish would have been done better? You didn't answer the question.
No, I mean, honestly, I think their books are okay. I'm with James and Andrew though, in the sense of, maybe some stuff about what's going on around. Give me some more Primail or whatever the world is called.
Is it? I can't pronounce it.
Primail or something like that.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, I think that might be the smart thing. Like, kind of instead of more pages in the Cypher System rule. I mean, the Ptolus book, but a companion.
And to be fair, and if you were going to do a companion, this is where Anthony's wish for more detail about the races. That's a perfect place to put it.
And the drop ships.
Think about Numenera, and when they came out with the World Guide to Numenera. I think that might be the best idea for Ptolus. Come out with a world guide.
That is still my favorite Cypher books of all time. Was the Ninth World Guidebook, right? That's the document, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
God, that was
The Ninth World's a special place. It really is.
It is, and Ptolus lives there as a computer program in the data sphere.
There you go. There you go. That's it. See, we can
an
do it.
MMO like Arden Land of the Curse.
So
It might be the first MMO.
is there anything else before we will ask the audience if they have any questions? But is there anything else you guys want to talk about Ptolus that you don't think we mentioned?
I think we need to talk about how we need to see more descriptions about the races in here because there's just not enough. I don't know where they're gonna go.
Yo, you know what? I could put them on my cape.
There you go. Put them on your
I can
cake.
write it myself.
What's the factor for an elf?
So I have a question for you guys. If you were running Ptolus, one descriptor or two?
Two descriptors.
Two.
Two descriptors and a separate race.
Two.
Well,
Definitely two.
Well, I haven't read
Definitely
the.
two descriptors.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying definitely two descriptors because I think it works really well for the fantasy setting in general. And then that sentence kind of sets the stage for the characters as well. When you do it right. So that's just my opinion.
Am I hitting the point where I am too OG in this? Where the hell did two descriptors come from? Where does that?
It's in Godforsaken.
Oh, I didn't read that.
That's
It's
what I
a
was about to
suggestion.
ask.
It's a suggestion from Godforsaken.
Listen,
Where
It's a suggestion from
Back in my
Godforsaken. It's a suggestion in the Cypher System rule book.
Back
Yeah.
in my day, back in 2013,
Get off my lawn, young
we only
women.
had one descriptor.
Listen here, you little whippersnapper.
I'm
I
not
would
the one
do it.
talking to descriptors.
What
You
I would
never
do
went
is,
through the scripters, James?
No, that's not how you do it.
It's like it's like, you know, when they invented putting a beer in your margarita, is phenomenal.
The point
Why would I
is,
do that?
the point is, in most cases, when you're using two descriptors as well, most cases, one of your descriptors is your race.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
most cases.
Yeah,
I would
don't
make
know.
the second
I don't buy
descriptor a
this.
background one.
I play a game primarily where halfling, dwarf, and elf are all classes. Okay,
I
you
remember
do.
those days.
Yeah.
those days still live, my friend. They live.
DCC.
Hells yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I don't play DCC, but I remember those days.
One day.
I remember those
All
days
names
too.
you see behind you.
That's why that's
you.
why I was running B1.
Exactly.
Does anybody have chat any questions for either us or our wonderful guests?
Yeah, and while people chime in if they have any questions, I will just say that even though I haven't read it, the book is gorgeous. Like, it feels nice. The weight is nice to know that there's so much content in there. And again, as someone who's like me, who runs games the way I do, it's just such a nice resource to have on hand should I decide, hey, I want to do a fantasy thing. Boom, I have so much inspiration right there at my fingertips. It's just lovely.
The early 80s were harder than that, James.
You know what was really hard was the early 90s. I mean, trying to get anywhere with like Ace of Base playing was really challenging.
Last Wednesday was pretty hard.
But,
Yo, look what came in today, guys. I don't know if you could see it.
Oh, you got your
The character portfolio.
Nice.
Yeah, now I'm getting character portfolios I can't use.
Jason says, is there
I'm
a
gonna have
single BBEG for the scenario, or is it way more complex than that?
What's the BBEG?
the big
Bad
bad
end
evil
guy.
The
guy.
evil guy, big bad evil guy.
His name
So
is
Big bad
Jason-
end guy.
Is that Babeg?
So
Is that how you
Jason,
pronounce
there is a very big bad in the game, but there are also a whole lot more complicated aspects to even get to that.
Yeah, and we haven't even gotten all of the adventures yet.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
is there anything left on the Kickstarter besides the adventures?
Adventures and a
I
cape.
think the adventures.
And a cape.
Cape.
And the
I'm
cape.
pretty certain there's no cape in the Kickstarter.
I'm throwing it in now.
We're gonna talk
Secret.
Unless you're gonna make a cape out of the map.
Yo, Andrew, that was the secret super backers level.
Oh, man.
The map would be a cape. Me and Evie had to unroll that on camera a couple weeks ago, and it's like it's covered
Oh,
our
yeah.
whole wall.
I
Mine's
didn't
right
get
over
the
there.
freaking map. I'm regretting that. I should have bought I didn't realize the map was an extra.
Yeah.
So
There's two sizes. There's
I
normal
think you-
and there's your house.
Yeah, and you.
Yeah, I have the house.
Yeah, there's the map there's the map that's to scale, and then there's the map that says 1 mile equals 1 mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want the freaking map.
But there is one more question in the chat here from Techman. They ask, how much can you dial any of the city's oppressions up or down? I'm assuming just to make it harder or easier for the
As
players.
much as you want.
Yep.
As much as you want. I mean,
Well, and it depends too on which version you're doing, because in
Correct.
5e it's not nearly as easy to bump up those dials as it is in Cypher. In Cypher,
That's
you can
true.
do it in your sleep. And
right.
Wait, what are we? Hold on. When he says oppression, what are we talking about though? The city's
He's
oppression?
basically talking about when you're putting your characters through the adventures. How
I'm
That's
thinking
how I-
we're
that's how
talking
I read it.
there's like anti-Minotaur sentiment or something we're talking about here.
Oh.
I'm like, wait a second. I don't know if I want to dial any of that up right now. I think
Yeah,
I
I
want to
don't-
keep it really dialed down.
yeah,
Let's dial down the oppression as much as possible in our game.
In that regards, yes, 100%. Always dial that down. No, but I think it was a reference to the difficulty of just
Basically,
traversing it
difficulty
and
encounters
dealing
and
with it.
everything.
And,
if we're talking difficulty, yeah, it's easily dialed up and down. But I'm with everybody else here. I don't need that much real world in my tabletop.
Oh no.
Yeah, Techman's one of what you call it, freak reviewers. I'm pretty sure he's not talking about the first
Someone pick a number between 1 and 650.
650.
650?
Yeah.
327.
I'm close to there. Okay.
And we do have one funny question from Jason. Does the book come with special permanent pens to write in it? No, but you can use any pen for that purpose.
So listen, on page 327 in pen, I wrote, "I love the CU." Look at that right there.
Oh, see, and this is what I mean. Like, it's a part of their history now. Years from now,
now
when
in
you
there.
don't use the book anymore, you're gonna look at that and be like, "Oh shit, I did that years ago,"
Put an
and you're gonna
exclamation
remember
point on
this.
CU. They're just gonna write kind of sloppy.
I appreciate the sentiment, but it's killing me.
On page 327. You know where that is? It's in. We're in South Market. You know what? No one goes to the South Market anyway.
And that's why the CU is there.
But
I know Andrew did this, but James hasn't. Now's the time where we do our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
You know, this is where we dig deep into your soul. We pull out your essence. We stretch it on the table for the whole world to see. Are y'all guys ready for these rapid fire questions?
I just had a colonoscopy. This is gonna be
I don't
great.
even. I
Oh,
don't
no,
even.
no,
Remember,
wait.
I don't even remember the questions.
And
So.
just so you guys know, after he stretches them on the table, I'm gonna put a little meat tenderizer on it too.
I'm a vegetarian, but
That's okay. You're still meaty.
all right. So, first question for the rapid fires is player or GM?
GM. Who wants to be a player? I hate playing. I really do. I can't stand it. I don't like playing. I hate watching actual plays. And I don't like recording actual plays. But other than that, it's all good.
All right, you gonna answer again, Andrew?
Yeah,
go for it.
I,
Go answer.
I'm so excited to be a player again.
You probably said
gotten to do
GM
it, but
last time too. We'd have to look.
I'm a huge, but I am almost the forever GM.
Makes sense.
All right, so the next question: pull punches or TPK?
Oh, I know where James is going with this one.
I'm gonna let you go first, though.
Yeah, we'll flip the order. You go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna. All right. I don't really like pulling punches, but I hate TPKs. So I guess pulling punches.
TPKs.
Says
have
the
to
guy
pick
from
one.
MCC.
DCC. That's all you need to know.
No, look, I get it's one or the other. It's you the players don't remember as my was it my friend Mark, I think today said or said yesterday, players don't remember the epic session where they rolled an 11 and nothing happened.
That's
But
why
they'll
you don't
remember-
make them
they'll
roll
remember
dice.
dying epically.
Makes sense.
Online or in-person gaming?
Online. I don't want COVID.
Andrew?
Whatever I can get.
That's a good answer. That's a
Are you
good
talking
answer.
about
Great
the
answer.
gaming or the COVID?
But right now, I'm still partial to in person. I'm very curated about which in persons they are.
Makes sense.
We have a closed circle we game with.
Announce the difficulty number or keep it a secret.
Oh, announce it. Let them do the math.
That's the best reason I've heard for announcing it.
Screw that, or just to ask them, tell me what difficulty you hit. I don't like to divide by 3.
Salty or sweet snacks at the game?
Oh, Andrew didn't answer.
Andrew didn't answer the
Oh, I'm
question.
sorry, Andrew.
Oh, announce. And James gave better reasoning than I had. So
All right, salty or sweet snacks at the gaming table?
Ooh, Andrew.
oh, is it my turn to go first
It's
again?
your turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, all of them, and vegetables.
Nice.
Good answer.
Salty,
Great answer.
like me.
We're
RP. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say we're heavy around here. At least I am, and I am very happy to just be a fat kid and eat everything.
And I'm wrong with that. RP or combat? James.
RP. I mean, you need a smattering in there. You need to have some fights. I think it's my one big challenge with 5e right now is the combat tends to own a lot of the session. It's all built around that. Kind of gives me a headache. So that's away from the good stuff.
Hands down, RP.
Good answer.
See?
PDFs or physical books?
Physical books, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to answer first.
It's all right. Physical books that nobody writes in.
You know, James had the evil madman's at physical books.
Physical books.
You know, like that whispers in it with the undertone.
Books. He said it like Batman.
Books. I'm gonna write it in physical books.
That I write in. All right, so pen and paper notes or digital?
Pen and paper. What was the question?
Pen and paper notes or digital?
I think you have to answer first, Andrew.
Digital.
Digital.
But you like to write in the books.
Yeah, but I like to take my notes in my Chromebook. That's why
So you
God
write-
invented the Chromebook.
Yeah, write in that book. There you go.
Pre-written adventures or original content?
Oh, this is a tough one.
Ooh,
I gotta put that in like context that we're in Cypher, so I'm gonna say original content. But other games I prefer published modules. It kind of depends.
Good answer.
Cypher is original content. Anything with a more complex rule set, I'm not freehanding that shit.
Very good answer.
I am too busy for that these days.
That's awesome. That's why I play Cypher most of the time, because I'm a lazy ass.
Well,
Great answers.
hey, you guys survived.
Yeah!
Hey,
Great answer to end on.
So, wow, this was great. We had a lot of fun. You know, Anthony, you got to stop arguing with me. You know,
I argue with you. I didn't say that.
What he means is you just need to accept that he's always right.
no, that would never happen. But
no, it definitely will not.
That would happen even if I wanted to. We just butt heads. It's just-
we're gonna. No, I'm just joking. He knows I don't care. We're gonna.
I know you do.
Andrew, James, you guys, thank you for coming. Do you guys have anything you want to say to our viewers? You know, anything you want to plug or anything like that before we, shut this talk down?
Yeah, actually, I do, because you started something way back at the beginning, and we didn't actually address it. And I think I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the charity and Isolicon briefly. Even though we're not doing another Isolicon right away, it was to benefit the RPG Creators Relief Fund,
Yes.
and that's what the charity was that we did.
Nice. Thank you very much for clearing that up for us, because I could not remember the name of the charity, but it was awesome. We participated, and when you get ready to do another one, just let us know, because we'll be ready. James,
That'll have to be sometime when I have more time.
Gotcha. James, anything you need to tell the world out there?
No. I think I think you guys cover. I appreciate you having me on. And thanks for putting up with me for an hour and a half. I think if anyone should get a round of applause, it should be all of you for being here. And just want to tell the viewers to get your friggin' asses vaccinated if you haven't done it already. So
All right.
Yeah.
You heard that. James said it.
There was
Okay.
one more question from the audience. They asked when are you guys coming back to the show? So, you guys have an open invitation. You ever want to come
next
back?
Wednesday?
Hey, you guys are welcome. You're always welcome. James, just a lot of fun to have you on. Andrew, as usual, love talking to you, man. Love your insights and perspectives. James, young little whippersnapper, keep up the good work.
all the 42 years over here, Mike.
40, how many? 40 what?
40 dose.
Oh, listen, man, I left those
His
behind.
life.
I left those behind.
What, like a year ago? 2 years ago?
10 years ago.
Oh my gosh! We're the same friggin' generation, okay? So we're still Gen X, all right? So
That's what I'm trying to tell you, dude. I'm an OG around here, man.
it's still the same generation.
No, I'm a baby boomer. You're not.
No, you're not a baby boomer. If you're
These
52,
am.
you're Gen X.
Anybody?
I am a baby boomer. I mean, I'm Gen X.
Right, I'm Gen X. We're both Gen X.
Yeah, we all
No.
are.
No, I'm the end of the
Not
baby boomer.
me.
No, you're not. Okay, you got a millennial over here who always have to say how special they are.
Millennial.
That's just a millennial thing. They got to come out and say, you know,
I
don't
didn't say what I
labels, here's the
was. But either
All
way,
right,
Anthony.
all right, so wait, you're a baby boomer?
He's not, but
No.
you know,
Let's see.
I'm pretty certain you're Gen X.
he's Gen X. It's fine. He doesn't want to admit to it. It's okay.
Oh,
That's so Gen X. That's not even funny.
Exactly.
but while that's
Yeah.
being
We are
confirmed,
Gen X. I am
can't
Gen X.
believe this is
I was gonna say,
Gen X.
Dean,
Anthony, I'm sure you have
And-
something to tell the crew.
And James, you're not Gen X.
no, say I'm Gen X. 42. I'm definitely Gen X. I'm
Anthony,
the.
Gen X is 65 to 76.
You're not looking at the right count, the right thing. I literally work on the. Believe me, I'm Gen X. I know what the real world was, and I watched it all, so I'm Gen X. Okay.
If you say so,
I'll let him be Gen X.
yeah, because he's not. But okay.
I'd love to be younger, but I'm not.
Actually, he's right. 41 to 56 years old right now.
Oh, so I'm Gen X too. I feel like an X-Men now.
You're
I know.
X-Man.
We're the ones they skip. They go millennial to baby boomer. We're just in the middle saying, look, you're both wrong.
We're the ones that going,
Nice.
All right. I just want to say, fucking thank you guys. I really enjoyed you. I'm so happy you guys decided to hop on and chat with us. You know, James, I was trying to get him on for the show for like a year. He's been dodging me.
All you gotta do is call me. Like, hey, what's come on? You're dodging you. Just like,
He's scared of Puerto Ricans.
what? Wait, what?
what kind of random aside is that, bro?
Hey, wait, what?
No, it made me think, cause so I just saw a thing on my, I have a multiple thing. It's like National Latino Month. I was like, I would throw that in there. Nah, he's not.
This is the way you throw this in here? This is the way?
Absolutely. Get
No,
you.
I
See,
absolutely love you guys. Yo, I want you guys to come back whenever you can. You guys are awesome, freaking awesome. And what I said at the very beginning of the show stands. I admire you guys so much, and you guys taught us a lot in in this social media space, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you
Yeah, we
guys
do.
for
well,
having
thank
us
you for
on.
having us on. This has been a blast, as always.
And I'm still upset about not enough races. And they didn't add a Puerto Rican race to the.
Oh my God.
So there was a serious problem.
He had to
And-
make it
and-
relevant.
It should have been elf, dwarf.
All right, he broke up there, but I'm pretty sure he said
There's a-
dwarf, elf, Puerto Rican.
he just dwarf. He's still holding dwarf.
Puerto Rican.
Either way,
yeah.
Anthony. No, I was just gonna let you do your thing
Look,
to
that's
sign us
why.
off here.
But they don't have Native Americans in here, so I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's another video.
If you like us and you like
That's
what we
another
do-
setting.
Oh yeah.
Coyote Crow.
Yep.
True.
I'm looking forward to that one too.
All right,
Sorry.
I'm gonna hop in with my usual spiel. If you like us and you like what we do, join the Cypher Unlimited Discord server. We have the largest fan-run Discord server for all things Monte Cooke games. We have almost 4,000 members chatting, games being played every day. Yes, I said every day, whether it's Numenera, Invisible Sun, or many of the other wonderful settings. You can join the Cypher Unlimited Discord group and get your game on there. Or join our Facebook group. It's not as big as the Cypher Unlimited Discord, but it's growing, and there's people chatting about all things Monte Cooke games there as well. Whew. Give us a like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel. We're trying to build our subscriptions up there, and we really appreciate it if you did that. Or give us a follow here on Twitch, or maybe subscribe if you can. If you can't either, who gives a fuck? It's all good. We still love you. Give us a little donation on Ko-fi. You know, like we said, our videos are always free, but it helps us out with little things like Zoom costs. Last but not least, go pick up some cool Cypher Unlimited merch. And yes, we will have capes. somewhere. Dean is going to go out of his way to find. If he has to sew the cape himself, he's going to make some capes up with the CU logo. Did I miss anything?
This is the truth. This is the truth.
It's like always.
I think we're good. And just to echo everyone, thank you so much for stopping by, James and Andrew. Thank you everyone in the audience for watching. This has been a blast as always. And this was a very good conversation. I enjoyed it. Again, even though I haven't read it, again, it's such a nice and rich setting book. It's an awesome book. If you haven't picked it up, pick it up. It's just, again, full of inspiration and content. Just amazing. And yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. And we'll see you next week. So from us at the CU, we will see you later.